It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Insight at the beautiful Quinn restaurant at Lincoln Atlantis Avenue in Vineland. And my special guest is the mayor of the city of Vineland, Anthony Fanucci. Mayor, good to see you.
Good to see you too,
I like that
Jim.
shirt too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll have to get you one of these.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right.
With growing
Vineland.
season, Vineland.
That's right.
It's time. It's always growing season.
That was the old UEZ tagline many years ago.
Oh, was it really?
And when we started doing the rebranding,
Yeah, right.
I was talking to Sandy Forsiski, of course, and saying, we're going to do all this stuff. This was, going on almost 9 years ago now. I said, what are we going to do? And she said, the old UEZ was something about blah, 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 blah. I'm like, where it's always growing season. I think it's fantastic,
that is,
right?
Yeah.
And it rings true completely because of the agriculture here.
Yes,
we're growing in other industries here. We're growing in public safety. We're growing in so many things. So when we redid it into the new logo, we resuscitated the old UEZ.
Yeah. And I like your commercials too.
Thank you.
I think they really look good. And thank you for the Vineland Millville baseball games. Vineland's going to be one of the sponsors for the game. Thank you so much
welcome.
for that. And those are coming up another week I think or so. Back-to-back nights. The first night's in Vineland. Oh, and you know what? Nick Caselta and Tony Trongone are going to do play-by-play for one of the Vineland.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Nick is swell.
I see Nick driving around all the time. He's still hustling, it looks like.
He is.
How's Tony doing?
He's doing well. He and I were at the Phillies game last
He's a
night.
great guy,
Isn't
too.
he, though? Yeah.
Always had a lot of good experiences around him,
Yeah.
and great guy in education.
Yeah.
He was really super.
Yeah.
Always very kind.
Yeah, really very knowledgeable. He's actually working part-time for Rich Allen, who's one of my good sponsors.
How fitting, because it's originally how I met Tony was through Rich some years back. Yes,
Gotcha.
and really got to like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. And of course, what happened when Larry Miller passed away, they had the opening because usually Rich has somebody that's involved in the community, like in education. I don't know which Rich or Larry was. He was former superintendent, which is smart because you build those relationships. And we talk about a good guy that donates to the community a lot is Rich. In fact, this was nice too. Speaking of Rich Allen, Corey, I've been talking to his son a lot. Unfortunately, Glenn Millie's struggling in right now. And anyway, the new superintendent of schools, Matt Mazzoni, who you know.
Yep, they met very well. Great guy.
Or St. Augustine Prep, actually. And anyway, Matt was thanking Allen Associates because they have the Teacher of the Year luncheon, and Allen Associates sponsors that for the school system. So, and Bob Connor is another one in Millville that we have that just gives and gives and helps every nonprofit he can. And I'm sure there are a lot in Vineland too. It's like, the people want to help the community.
Correct.
They give back to the community, which is, well, of course, Rich is in Vineland. There's a prime example of somebody that does that. Did you happen to see, I'm sure you must be friendly with Amy Mansue.
Oh, yeah.
She and Jean Scarani were inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame.
I heard, yes. How nice. She's a very nice lady.
Yes.
Tough job, man.
Can you imagine?
Nah, it's a tough job running a hospital system. I give her a lot of credit.
And I think, if I remember right, she said like 7,000 employees or something. And
wow.
A whole bunch of them were women. Ryan, you were there, I think, anyway. And like 70% of the employees are women, which I tell you what, I've been in Spiro several times, and I couldn't ask for nicer people. And of course, most of the ones that I was dealing with were nurses and techs and stuff who were women, and they were just fantastic. And to Amy's credit, I said to her, I don't know who does the hiring, but you got some great people here. They really do. Yeah.
She's got some wonderful people on her staff. Robin Walton, who's wonderful there, and who I get to deal with on a regular basis as well. And they really go out of their way to be open to communication and dialogue with things. So they're super nice. And I know that there's a number of folks that go through there, and it's almost like training, educational.
Yes.
Like they bring in a lot of the new people to learn, different staff members and stuff. So they've done a good job here. And I know they've opened in Mullica Hill, the newer one, a couple years back, and
they're expanding.
120
120 rooms or something like that. And it's interesting too. I hadn't thought about. I had Ben Laurie. I know you're good friends with Ben.
Great guy.
On, and he's the director of the Salem County Commissioners now. And Ben and I go way back when I was freeholder. He was freeholder at Cumberland County. I was. And anyway, he was talking about, and I'd forgotten this. I mean, people love the Elmer Hospital because it's smaller.
Yeah.
So sometimes what I've heard my friends say is, I got to go to the emergency room. I'm driving over to Elmer because it's not as crowded.
You would hear that a lot.
One here in Vineland is serving, Vineland, Millville area.
Oh, yeah.
But he was talking about, and I'd forgotten, that Spira has even raised the level of Elmer Hospital. But he said, Jim, they also took over Salem Hospital in Mannington.
Oh.
So they now have the two in Salem County, and they have, of course, not only the major hospital here in Vineland, but they've got urgent care. They've got all kinds of facilities.
Urgent care right here?
Right, exactly. That's what I say. It's everywhere. And they rented a big building in Millville in the Cumberland Crossing Shopping Center. It used to be a furniture store, and they have tremendous amount of offices there for their physicians, and it's really amazing. And it's funny, Tony, I tell you a story. When I was the mayor and you were a little kid back in Millville in '97, well, it was actually around 2002, I guess, is when there was talk about consolidating Newcomb, Millville, Bridgeton, that type of thing. And the people, as normal, I don't want to give up my hospital. I said, folks, the way times are going nowadays, you cannot operate a small hospital like this with the MRIs and all the equipment are millions of dollars and all that stuff. And Kalikowski, I think the guy's name was
Chet.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And he and I worked together, and I'm sure my people weren't happy at the time, but we were able to work the deal out and get everything going, and he was just a super person, and thank God we did. I mean, we have a state-of-the-art hospital right here in Vineland that, it's close enough to Millville. It's right on the Route 55. And again, I just am so impressed with the staff and the people. And of course, Amy is an amazing lady. Boy, that's a big job, isn't it?
You're not
all
kidding.
The hospitals she has.
You're not kidding. I mean, that is an awful lot of undertaking on a daily basis. I mean, you got to get up in the morning and just, we think we had it tough running the county and the city.
Yeah, but I heard something about you, I got to tell you. I had the pleasure of talking to Tony. He said, I'm not Anthony, I'm Tony. And his last name is Quigley. And I remember the last show you talked about 90 hours a week and stuff. He says to me, Jim, I got to tell you, I come in at 7 o'clock, the mayor's here. He said he is working and working and working, and I commend you for that. I mean, this was unsolicited. This is the guy telling me the truth.
Right.
And you had talked about putting in 90 hours a week sometimes. And it was funny because when I got elected mayor of Millville, something I always wanted, it was a childhood dream. And luckily my business was doing well. It really was. So I had some good management people there. And one of my management people said, Jim, you don't need to be here. Go down to City Hall. So it was funny though, Lou Thompson had said to me, I'm putting the phone in at your office. I said, no, Lou, I'm going to be coming down. No, I'm going to put one at your office, because Chet Goodwin, who was my favorite mayor, was a good friend of mine. He had an office on High Street like I did, and he had a phone in his office. And I said, no, this is something I always wanted to do. So luckily I went down every day and, got there and did what needed to be done. And I think it worked out well for us because, just like you have the guidance that you've given Vineland and you've got that great business background, I had some of that as well. And again, the staff. I mean, you've got a super staff with Bobby D and your solicitor and all the people we've talked about. And that's what really helps the county or the city grow. In my case, I was lucky to have Don Ayers and Kim Ayers, and they really, and Lou Thompson, and we were able to do economic development, which is the key. And you guys, my gosh, between you and Sandy Forsiski, you've got the most phenomenal economics that are going on around.
They work hard.
Yeah.
They really work hard in that department. And you know how it is. The big thing in a municipality, in order to really have economic development and have real growth, you have to be able to retain your existing businesses to the best of your ability, which is extremely important. And in doing that, you have a whole plan that has to be enacted. But the biggest thing is public safety. You need police, you need
Amen.
fire, you need EMS, you need to be able to protect those assets for those business owners. And if they feel comfortable coming into your city and they feel safe, they're not only going to establish themselves here, as they become more profitable, they're going to want to grow here and stay here. And that's what we've been able to do with our economic retention, and then creating new development on top of that with growth. And, you know, Sandy does a wonderful job. Her department does a great job. Frank does a lot of underwriting on these loans and things over there, and you know, looks at these different businesses, and they have great points of contact. And Adriana, who's in our office, has a lot to do with, you know, day-to-day stuff and communicating with the board. You know, our revolving loan fund board.
Right.
You know, and that goes a long way. And of course, we all work together towards a common goal. But you're right, I couldn't do it without the team that I have around me, and frankly, nor would I want to.
Right.
You know, I have great staff. You know, my core directors are strong. They get it. Once in a while, we have a little, you know, checks and balances that we do. I have a great city council. You know, and you know, it makes it. I don't want to say easy, because it's certainly not easy, but it makes it a little smoother, if you will, in our positions the way they are, especially in our form of government, which you and I have talked about is so much drastically different than Millville.
It's a regular form of government. It's unbelievable. But we'll be back to talk with Mayor Anthony Fanucci here on the program right after these messages.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
He was there in the temple with Zechariah. He delivered God's message to Mary. He announced the news to the shepherds. He protected the boy Jesus. He saw the water turn to wine. He led the angels to minister to Jesus in the garden. He stands in the presence of God. His name is Gabriel, and he is the witness.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. Jim Quinn along with Mayor Anthony Fanucci from the great city of Vineland. And you know, Mayor, I was going to say, on my ways up, and even tonight, I come up Lincoln Avenue, and I looked over on the right-hand side, and David Builders have some really nice homes they're building.
Yes, a number of units right there on that stretch near Petway School.
Yes, right.
Around the corner on Magnolia, he built another nice new one.
Oh, wow.
You know, a nice little modern touch to the exteriors, and very good. You know, and they sell quickly.
I'm sure.
New construction homes in Vineland are selling like hotcakes. So, and he's doing a great job. So he builds, and he's got his son started in the business now as
that's
well.
Good.
So his son has some that he's building, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they look very nice.
And that's Christy DiLeonardo's husband and son.
Oh, no kidding. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's a sweetheart.
Oh, she's wonderful. Does a great job in this county.
She sure does, yeah. I was a freeholder. I served on some committees with her, and she's just an amazing lady. Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. It's nice to see those kinds of things happening, and you know, it's great to see, you know, just there's a lot of work happening all over the place, and it's great.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, I talk to a lot of people that, you know, are in the trades, either, you know, working for, you know, union or non-union contractors, and I'm hearing them all saying the same thing. They have work for the next couple years going. Things are lined up. Things are moving. So I know there's a lot of shock and awe to the economy right now.
It's scary about the tariffs.
Yeah, but locally, things are still moving along, and I'm happy to see that as a mayor, of course, and as a resident.
Sure.
And you're seeing some good quality things go up too, which is great.
Yeah, they're very nice homes. They really are.
And they're not cheap anymore.
No, I'm sure not.
I remember the days of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath being $99.9.
And now they're $399, $499. Yeah.
Incredible.
It's
My career in real estate has spanned a number of decades already, even though I'm still fairly young / close to middle-aged. But, you know, I can't believe just where it's all come from. When I was a kid, in my mom's real estate office, you would see the mortgage rates, you know, were 18, 19, 20%, but the homes were $25,000 and $30,000. So it was a whole different ball of wax back then.
Yeah. It's funny, I was talking to Ben Laurie about the high interest rates. In 1980, Joe O'Donnell, if you ever knew him,
Yeah, I knew Joe.
he and I partnered and built the cable television system, River Cable, in Morris River, commercial down Lawrence, Fairfield, Deerfield Township. The interest rate at that point for $1 million, 18%.
Wow.
Yeah, but we made out fine, and 9 years later, we sold it, made a lot of money off of it, so it worked out really well as well. Speaking of cable, Ben and I were talking about, and I'm so glad to hear this because it looks like the county's sort of backing off the middle mile. And Ben was talking about working with you guys in the city of Vineland to come up with a broadband type of plans and stuff like that.
It's a great initiative for us, something that we campaigned on a number of years ago. We started pre-COVID, and then of course COVID put everything to a screeching halt. We picked it back up again shortly thereafter, and we're creating a broadband network for the city of Vineland exclusively, but we'll be able to, once that network is lit up, be able to wholesale out to other areas, you know, to Salem County if they want, or to Cumberland County if they were to ever build a middle mile or someone were to come in, and, you know, give people options.
You know what scares me? I'm not sure now with Elon Musk in, with, you know, as Trump's right-hand man, that the middle mile money will ever come because he has Starlink. And, I mean, putting out, that was $23 million, I think, for Cumberland County from what I remember, with $10 million having to come up from the county, but $23 million from the federal government. So I wonder if that's even going to come about.
And that's not going to be enough money to build out what they need either.
No,
you know,
not at all.
I mean, you're looking at projects that are excessive.
Yeah.
For us, you know, locally for Vineland, it makes a lot of sense to have a broadband utility because we have electric,
Sure.
we have water,
Yeah.
there is a sewer utility in the LSA here. Our solid waste utility for trash pickup is its own entity. And if we're able to enhance and add those services, such as a broadband network, to give a better price point, possibly better speeds and better reliability to the consumer, why not?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And it
And
helps.
then you get the whole package. I mean, that's what's so wonderful about having your own electric utility. I mean, nobody has that except you guys that I know of. And, you know, something else that we talked about briefly, which has been wonderful, is the Urban Enterprise Zone Revolving Loan Fund. That, I mean, I remember when I was the mayor of Millville, and there was nobody purchased in Millville. The top place was like Farm and Family. That was it. And then eventually, well, I shouldn't say that. I think, eventually Walmart came. So that was another place that people shopped. But that was it. Everything you went. I'm in Vineland, I'm at the mall, I'm at Boscov's, I'm, you know, going up to the road and making my purchases in Vineland, which was wonderful for you guys. And that's what's great, because you took that UEZ money, you lent it out, rolled it over, and it's come back on the loans. I mean, what a
Over
win.
and over and
you.
over again.
I wonder what the total is, or what it
We're
was.
probably close to $70 million loan portfolio right
Wow,
now,
that's
let alone
fantastic.
not to count all the grant monies we've been able to give out over the years and prior to my administration that they've done and worked with and so forth. But I think it's fair for the public to know that the UEZ in Vineland is a joint UEZ with Millville.
Yes, right.
As I understand the story, and you probably were around when this was created, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
When Sandy has explained it to me that there was one left.
Yes,
And we were going to be
exactly.
competing against each other.
Yeah.
And I guess all of you got together at that time and said, well, instead of competing together, let's make it a joint UEZ.
Well, the man that did that was Jim Hurley.
Okay.
He was the one that pulled that together.
There you go.
You're right. I mean,
Okay.
and it was similar to what you're saying. Was okay. I want to help both my towns. He was our state senator, and he was able to pull it together. And thank God. I mean, for both, especially Millville, because Vineland, like I say, you have, and you still continue to grow and have great places for people to buy everything and anything they need. So that helps. And I will say, I was pleased while I was in Millville as the mayor, we were able to bring in the Union Lake Crossing Shopping Center, and that's really developed into a nice center. Boy, I tell you, all these restaurants across the front of that now, Five Guys and Jersey Mike's and the chicken place and the Chinese places. It's really neat to
I gotta
see.
tell you, they are good. I don't want to make it a commercial while I'm here, but
Jersey Mike's or Five Guys?
both. I gotta tell you, I mean, Five Guys, my kids love it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll DoorDash from there, but once in a while when I have time, if my wife has something going on and she's like got a night at school or what have you, we'll go over to Five Guys, and they're very friendly, the staff
Yes,
in there.
they are. Yeah.
I mean, the burgers are just massive.
Yeah.
The amount of French fries you get
Yeah, and
is
they're all fresh.
unbelievable.
The potatoes are there. This is a funny story. When Bobby Romano was the mayor, he and I went up to Trenton. On the way back, we stopped at the Five Guys. It's still there in Deptford.
Okay.
So I'm putting a pitch on him about coming to Millville, Vineland, and all that stuff. But this has been years ago. But I'm just again, I enjoyed their product. And,
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Jersey Mike's, I got to tell you, the quality of the sandwiches they're putting out is great.
Yeah.
I went over, Stacy and the girls were shopping at Target.
Uh-huh.
I said, all right, I'll drop you off. I went over and picked up lunch from Jersey Mike's and went home and had that. We DoorDashed it one night because my daughter wanted to try it. They have the bowls over there, the poke bowls or whatever
do they?
it is.
Oh,
They have
okay.
something else next door.
That's right, they do. Yeah. Yeah.
We tried that one night.
Oh.
It was fantastic. And I said, for me, right, of course, I'm the mayor of Vineland, but now I'm crossing over in the Millville where we do shop because,
Sure.
we're Target people, right?
Yeah,
so we're
me
at Target
too. I go to
constantly, right?
Target
It's a
a
great
lot
store.
all the time, yeah.
And then now you have all those great food options
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And then Moses there.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, the frozen yogurt place or whatever's over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I
and then
stopped there,
looks like
too.
Sonic's busy again now.
Yeah.
And my doctor's office is over there in that little Inspira
Oh, is it
Center
in that
there.
building?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I go there.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good to see my neighboring city,
Yeah.
expanding in different ways. And
Yeah.
some people say, oh, what do you need, another restaurant? Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
165,000, 170,000 people in Cumberland County, so have some more come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And frankly, I don't mind them being right there because
Yeah.
it's very convenient, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that these franchises and these brands are recognizing that corridor
Yeah.
as an economic corridor where they
Yeah.
can be profitable.
Yes.
That's a big difference. People don't realize how much those big brands mean. They said you never get the Olive Garden. We got the Olive Garden,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And that was a big deal. People laughed about that.
Yeah.
I said, once you get the Olive Garden, watch it, the domino effect.
Yeah.
Now we have 2 Chick-fil-A's, we have 2 Chipotle's. You have all
Yeah.
those restaurants right there in
Yeah.
that strip that we just talked about. You have other things coming. People are recognizing
Yeah.
more and more and more, and that's important. And
Yeah,
I think
sure
it's
is.
great. But I'm very happy to see that over there in the shopping center and,
Yeah.
and how the front's Delsey Drive beautifully. So
Yeah, it
I think
does.
I think it's a great
Yeah.
thing, and I hope the growth over there continues.
Yeah, yeah.
so-
Well, certainly, it's nice. I have a funny story to tell you about Walmart. Back in 1989 or 90, in that area, my father owned the land where Walmart is now.
Okay.
So, in fact, you had the Luciano Junkyard. The road,
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's where I grew up. They went right by my house. It was a big 2-story house with a garage and all that stuff. And anyway, the developer came to see my dad and my son. My oldest son was there. That's how I know the story. And the developer said, Mr. Quinn, I'd like to make you an offer on buying your property. And he said, no way. He said, my grandfather lived here, my dad lived here, I'm living here. I'm never going to sell this property. So finally the guy said to him, Mr. Quinn, could I come in at least sit down and show you the offer, if nothing else? All right. So my mother's name was Betty. So my son, who was, I don't know, 12 at the time, he goes in with his grandpa, and my mother's sitting at the dining room table, and the guy whips out the offer of $500,000. And my father says, Betty, pack the bags, we're out of here. He was a character. In fact, the lady at the mall still talks about him because he was an entertainer. He loved to joke with everybody and used to walk the mall, and he'd have his posse walk with him.
That's
all that
great.
Kind of stuff. Yeah, she used to call him the mayor of the mall. But anyway, that's what brought the Walmart in at Cumberland Crossing Shopping Center. And
How about that?
yeah, it was pretty neat.
And that's
to
a
see.
busy Walmart still.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then we have the Walmart
In
you know,
Vineland, yeah.
in Vineland. They have the one in Bridgeton at Carl's Corner.
Yes, right.
Those
Yeah.
Walmarts are packed.
Yeah, I know.
Packed.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, they have great prices, but I tend to go to Target. I don't know why, you know, but
You know what, we do too. We gravitate that way, but I mean, that's predominantly because of my wife, right? 'Cause she really does the shopping.
Yeah.
You know, I like to tease and say I just show up and pay. You know, but the Target stores are great, and you know, and it's interesting though, the class of store, because when you go from area to area to area, and this has always been the way with retail.
yeah.
You have like a Class A, Class B, Class C store, you know, depending on your areas. But I've noticed that this Target here has made a lot of changes in the last few years,
Yes.
really stepping up.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
Especially like in the foods that they offer in the store,
Yeah.
and you know, some additional products and things. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to notice it's catching up to some of the other Targets in the bigger, more populated areas.
Yeah.
You know, which is good to see.
It is, yeah. They really have done some renovations. I really enjoy with several of the staff members there. One of the staff members, I can't think of his first name, is a young guy, probably in his 30s. He's a teacher in Vineland, and just a super personality, always working hard, you know, and he's, like I say, a Vineland educator as well. And, you know, and that's the other thing. I mean, we're lucky. The places that I go, like you said, Five Guys, the people were delightful.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you know, we're talking about food. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our sponsor, which is the Quinn restaurant here in Vineland. I was telling the mayor, I put a Facebook post on about the Queen, and my friend Charles and I were here one night a couple of weeks ago, and he had meatloaf, I had turkey, and all the stuff. But with it, you get soup or salad, entree, vegetable, and dessert, all for $15. If you have a person with you, if not, it's $16. But $15, he and I got that. It was $31.99 for two of us with tax included. I mean,
Where can you eat
that's
for
what
that?
I mean. Yeah, exactly. My gosh, some places it's $40-some just to eat.
Eat,
you know.
one person.
Yeah, exactly.
And the portions they give you here are
they're-
incredible.
Well, that's it, Mayor. I ended up taking half of it home.
Yeah.
So the next night, I had the other half of my turkey dinner because I can only eat half of what they give you. So
Yeah.
again, they don't cheat you on the portions when
No.
they're talking about, you know, the food that they give. It's very good, and I know you come for breakfast.
Oh yeah. And if you're a dessert eater,
Oh my God.
I know you can see that dessert
Yeah.
case from over here.
Unreal, isn't it?
Oh,
Keeps talking.
I got to keep walking by it when I come in and out of here. It's like, oh my goodness, shut the light off on that thing. I get my mom's sweet tooth, so no matter how much weight you lose, you still look at the sugar.
You look great, though.
Thank you.
We're talking with Mayor Fanucci on Insight. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
He was there in the temple with Zechariah. He delivered God's message to Mary. He He announced the news to the shepherds. He protected the boy Jesus. He saw the water turn to wine. He led the angels to minister to Jesus in the garden. He stands in the presence of God. His name is Gabriel, and he is the witness.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
The most
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. Jim Quinn along with Mayor Anthony Fanucci. We're here at the beautiful Queen restaurant in Vineland at Lincoln and Landis Avenue, where they've got fantastic food, fabulous deals, 2 meals for $30, and some of those meals are chicken parm, meatloaf, which my friend Charlie gets, ziti, homemade lasagna, eggplant parm that I like also, grilled marinated chicken. The other day, Charles, my friend, got that. There were 3 chicken breasts, folks, on the plate. Not 1, 3. Stuffed, baked stuffed shells, Parmesan. And, Ethan Aronoff was a friend of mine, came with me the other day, and he loves their liver. I'm not a liver person, but he likes it. And sauteed chicken scampi, and, of course, my favorite, roast turkey. And they also have spaghetti with meatballs. And, of course, again, as we talked about, that meal includes soup or salad and dessert. So, I mean, you really can't beat it. For 2 for $30 or 16 for 1. There you see Ryan's got it up on the screen. And, you know, like the mayor said, too, if you want to splurge a little bit and get a nice big piece of cheesecake or some kind of cake or pie, it's like, oh, my God, it's so good.
I see the chocolate cake from here tonight.
And my friend Ethan the other night upgraded his soup and got the crab bisque soup. Oh, my God,
That's
that
very
so
good.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Raphael Marty said, hello, Mayor.
Hey, Ralphie. He's a great guy.
I don't know him.
He's a wonderful guy, resident of Vineland, proud veteran, really fantastic supporter, very long-time friend. He's an advocate for the community. He's an advocate for the youth. Just really a fantastic human being. It's truly an honor to call him a friend.
That's super.
Thank you for watching tonight.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I forget his first name, but he was a super guy. I think he passed away. Wilson.
Oh, Jerome.
That's it. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
wow.
I thought it was amazing. Like when I was involved with Vineland, running the softball tournament and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would cover the wrestling. He was very much involved with that. And
Yep.
East Vineland Little League. I mean, geez, talk about a
Jerome
great
was
community
phenomenal.
person.
He was my mini wrestling head coach when I was a kid in minis.
Oh.
And then when I went to St. Augustine, he was the assistant coach under Mr. Malatesta when I was wrestling at St.
wow, I
Augustine.
didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, Jerome was so unique because he was such a big man.
Yeah.
Truly a gentle giant, but
Yeah.
nobody gave him 1 ounce of lip because it was Jerome, right?
You're right.
He taught me so many useful skills as a wrestler because I was small as a kid, but then I grew very quickly in high school, and I got big, and I really didn't know what to do with this big giant body and wrestle because I was used to wrestling lower weight classes because I was small. And he said, "Fanucci, come here." And he would take me aside, and we'd be, on the mat, and he would teach me how to use my frame and leverage and, and different things and different techniques. And Mr. Malatesta was such a great technical teacher, and his son was one of the best wrestlers that, we've seen in my generation. coming up like that was older than us. And then we had great guys like Joe Burke and the Tripolis, and these guys were just incredible wrestlers. But this whole area had such a wrestling presence. Then it kind of fell out for a while, but now it has picked up again so significantly. It's great to see it again in the youth side, really young kids, and then in the high schools and where the things are going, and it's fantastic. Bill Ward was a fantastic wrestler, and now he's a coach out at the prep, and he's just phenomenal. But Jerome had such an impact on every kid that he was around, and he was a security guard at the high school too.
That was a good job for him.
Yeah. Oh man. His sister Elrita was a sweetheart. She went to school with my older brother, and Elrita was always a great friend. I haven't seen her in many, many years, but I hope she's doing well too. They were just a phenomenal family.
Yeah, I just thought the world of him.
I miss Jerome.
Yeah. Something just recently was on Facebook. And our good friend Patty Pollard, who's an amazing lady, said to say hello.
Patty?
Patty's been very active in the Eagles cheerleading alumni and helping raise monies and doing things like that. What a sweetie. She's a really great
Keep up
lady.
the great work. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Patty was very good friends with Pete Rose, and she actually got me a signed Pete Rose baseball.
So, Pete Rose, of course, he was the man.
Yeah.
I was at a charity event, and there was a live auction. I got an autographed Pete Rose jersey at this auction.
Wow. That's fantastic.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I was bidding on it, and you're hoping you're going to get it, at the end of the night. Yeah. I have it, and I'm going to be taking it and having it matted and framed and hung.
Neat. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so you talk about one hell of a ball player.
Oh, my God. I got to meet him in 1980, and this was something that Millville stopped doing, but back I was managing Little League team in 76 to 81, and in 1980 we won the city championship. In fact, against Bobby Dickinson's. Bobby was in my league.
Okay.
And Bobby was the number 2 pitcher behind the number 1 pitcher, who was Matt Forrester, Bill Forrester's son.
Okay.
And we had all the competition between our two teams. I mean, we were very, very competitive, both excellent teams. Bobby, a great pitcher. But we won the American League, which is where Bobby was, and then we played the National League, and we beat the National League, and we got to go to that stadium.
Oh, cool.
So, and this is 1980. So they let me get down and hit infield balls to my infielders, and they let Bill Forrester hit balls to the outfield.
How about that?
And the kids, obviously now they're in their 50s, never ever forgot it, because Pete Rose was on first base, had, Schmitty was on third, Bell was at short, Matty Trio I think at second, and they were all really nice. And Tug McGraw was very nice too. He came over and talked to the kids and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was a wonderful thing. And we went again in '81. We won back-to-back years, so it was really cool. Yeah, it's something I'll always remember. The young guys who are now in their 50s, they still remember it as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been something that's been very, very
Schmidt,
good.
he's a hell of a third baseman. He's one of my wife's all-time favorite Phillies. For her birthday last year, I ordered her a authentic Schmidt jersey.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, through Mitchell and Ness. So she has that with her collection of other ones. And we watch those games as often as possible, and the kids are all into it now.
That's super.
And stuff. But Millville, you guys have always had an incredible history in baseball, haven't you? In that city?
Yeah, especially because that Bill Forrester in the 50s, I used to remember, I was younger than him, and I'd go watch him pitch. My God, he was throwing like aspirins. You couldn't see that he was so fast. And that scene, and Marty Cavanaugh, we were talking about the coaches that have been so good in Millville as well. In fact, Carl Hempel, I'm going to have one, I think, next week. He was talking about when he was managing the Legion Baseball.
Okay.
And he was talking about how very good Steve Nieder, the judge, was, Marty Cavanaugh was, I forget who else he told me, but they were Millville coaches. Tony Serace, he coached baseball besides basketball, or besides football and stuff like that. And, it's just really neat to be able to see. And, it's worked out really well for Millville. And, of course, Mike Trout. I don't know if I ever told you this. Well, Charlie Manuel one time said to me, we were having breakfast together as a season ticket holder. I got to go up there to actually it was Citizens Bank Park.
Okay.
So we were talking, and I said to him, now this is before Mike Trout was ever thought of or heard about. I said to him, Charlie, do you remember Jeff Trout? I sure do. He said, one of the best hitters I ever had. And then Tony Trongo was talking about that last night, about everybody realizes it's Jeff Trout that taught Mike Trout to be the hitter Mike Trout is, and he did. He worked with him all the time. And my kids took batting lessons from Jeff as well. But it was interesting with Charlie, and Charlie had lots and lots of great major league players. Jeff, unfortunately, made it to AAA, but never made it to the majors, and Charlie was managing his AAA team down south somewhere. I forget where.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure.
Definitely in the bloodline then. That's
yeah,
for sure.
it sure is. Yeah. But then you got Pacheco. Here's your superstar.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's pretty cool when these young athletes have come out of our area to do what they're doing. Especially in Trout's case. I mean, Michael is a humble young man who's a star athlete. He's got a super nice wife. Great mom and dad. I've had the pleasure of talking to his dad a number of times, and of course, through Bobby D. And whatnot, and then we've had Isaiah Pacheco, who's come through the Vineland leagues to do very well, and listen, this kid was in 3 Super Bowls his first 3 seasons.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
He's 2 for 3. Most guys can't get there in their career,
lifetime.
right?
That's true.
So I'm very happy for him, and and his work ethic, because that young man works extremely hard.
Yes.
We had Jamil Demby, who played for the Rams for a period of time as well, who really was a big, strong young man, and is moving on in different aspects of his career now and doing different things, but a very down-to-earth young man as well. Especially for such a giant of a person that he is. He just really respectful. Super nice wife, great mom, great family.
Yeah.
It's important, and the kids see that, and they really look up to that. And we have a lot of different programs in the city where people are getting involved to push the youth forward into the athletics, which is really good too, because you have some of these very young athletes that may not necessarily have the chance to go to a big name school and get seen because they're in Cumberland County, if you will. Fortunately, it's getting the notoriety that it has gotten because of the star athletes, but we need a few more so these kids can get a look, which would be great. And it's nice to see. And a lot of these kids are scholar athletes. They are doing very well with their grades.
I was really pleased with Millville. A lot of the starting kids were scholar athletes as well as being, really great athletes, football athletes and stuff. So it's like, that's wonderful. Give them credit, give their parents credit for, bringing up children, people that care about academics as well.
It's important, and these kids are all about it, which is great to see. And we have some programs through the different football leagues, obviously here, which are great. The Sound Mind, Sound Body, which is great with these young men for football, which Chris Wilson spearheads. Mentor on the Green, which the Coopers are spearheading, which is teaching kids how to golf, young kids, inner city kids, exposing them to golf that they never would normally be exposed to. Guys like this are really giving back into the community, and it makes a lot of sense that these things are happening. And I'm overwhelmed by the amount of kids that are flocking, to these things. And Chris was taking these kids out all over the country to get recruited and looked at, and these colleges, and getting kids into big name schools that they never would have been exposed to. So it's really nice to see that develop, and people actually doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, it really is. It's wonderful to see that happening and giving the kids the opportunities that they really deserve, and it's great to see that. We're talking with Mayor Anthony Fanucci from the city of Vineland. We'll be back to wrap up our program right after these messages.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
He was there in the temple with Zechariah. He delivered God's message to Mary. He announced the news to the shepherds. He protected the boy Jesus. He saw the water turn to wine. He led the angels to minister to Jesus in the garden. He stands in the presence of God. His name is Gabriel, and he is the witness.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
It's time for Insight, an inside view of what's happening in South Jersey. Join your hosts Anthony Fanucci and Jim Quinn as QVC brings you Insight with Anthony and Jim.
Welcome back to Insight. Jim Quinn along with Mayor Anthony Fanucci, and we're talking about all the wonderful things that are happening for the youth in Vineland as well. And one of your good friends, Brian Anderson, you were telling me is if you need a Kia, you go see Brian.
That's right.
RK Kia.
You got it.
Yeah.
He takes care of everything. You know, that poor guy, he has to get me cars all over the place all the time. And Brian is great, great friend, hard worker, wonderful family. God, we've known each other since we were kids.
Oh, that's great.
And, you know, and as a guy's guy, when you have a guy that's a car guy, you need your car guys in your life.
Yeah.
And BA is a car guy.
That's
if
good.
there ever was one.
That's great.
And he is a great mom and dad, great brother. His wife and niece is a longtime friend, and one hell of a cook. Speaking of food, when we always talk about food, and the kids are great kids, and yeah, just always blessed to have good friends in our lives. So.
Yeah, boy, it is, isn't it? You can't put a dollar value on
No, you
friendships,
can't.
You know,
No, you can't.
Being able to have it is wonderful to be able to do. So, I know you put in a long, long day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like to do for enjoyment? Do you play golf, or I mean, other than work?
I haven't figured it out yet.
I haven't either. Don't feel bad. I have no hobbies.
Honestly, you know, I enjoy going out to golf, but I golf a couple times a year. I don't take time, so I'm not very good at it. One of these days, I keep saying I'm going to do it. I have brand new clubs. I was fitted for probably close to 2 years ago. The plastic's still on them, so I'm still using the old ones because I'm afraid to beat up the new ones. But honestly, you know, once in a while, just to be able to sit back, relax.
Yeah. As hard as you work. I
Yeah.
can see where that would be.
You know, now that the weather's starting to turn a little bit, get nicer, just sitting out on my back patio sometimes very quietly, you know, have a cigar, bring out a nice tea, just listen, close your eyes when it's, you know, at night, and you just hear the peacefulness.
Yeah.
You know, when it's quiet in our neighborhood, you know, and I enjoy that. I really, I enjoy time at the shore. You know, love spending time with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, just it's hard to really. One day, I guess, when I decide I'm done with this level of public service, which requires such time and dedication,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll probably get back to some roots of things and get a little better. But I really just cherish some time to get a little peace and quiet, which isn't very often.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
that's true. With all your long days and all the stuff you've got to do, that's nice, relax.
But we love to cook in our house too,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
good.
and you know we enjoy preparing meals and just kind of, you know, I don't know, and really just being around good people.
Your wife teach?
Yes, yep, she's teaching 6th grade, so she's in middle school here in Vineland.
Oh, that's good.
Taught 5th grade prior to that, and 6th grade this year, and God bless her. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, as hard as I work, and I work a lot of hours, I give a lot of credit to educators because
Yeah.
it's a challenge dealing with kids all day long.
Well, it's funny. I taught 7th grade, and I taught special ed, and I became a speech therapist. But I was saying the other day to friends of mine, when I had the 7th grade, if I only had girls, it would have been the easiest thing in the world. But it was the ornery boys. Now, I'm talking back in the 60s, nobody knew then about ADD, ADHD.
Right.
These poor kids were suffering with that. I enjoyed them, but
Right.
they were the discipline problems. And especially, I said to somebody, they were talking about getting into teaching, and I used to substitute. I said, probably your really good age is 3rd grade, 4th grade. They're still kids. You don't have the,
all the drama.
Right.
Right.
You have with the other kids and stuff. But I love the kids. And well, I tell you what's scary, when I'm so old that I read the obits and some of my students have passed away. It's like, oh man, I feel really terrible. But as my cancer doctor says, well, we're living longer, Jim, and that's what ends up happening sometimes. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but got to enjoy every moment we have.
It's an incredible mark that you leave on a student when you know, when you really have them. And I see her students now a lot of times that come up to her or come up to me, and are you Mrs. Fanucci's husband? I'm like, yes, I am. And and they're like, how's she doing? She's well. She taught me, at many schools. We're starting at the Palato, or now at Johnstone School, right? And it's pretty wild when her students are grown up.
Yeah, isn't it though? Yeah.
But she started teaching when she was very young, so she's
great.
Been in it, and it's been she's had a great career.
That's
and I can honestly say, like, I've seen the impact that she's had on so many students in so many different ways, and it's truly heartwarming for me.
Yeah,
I've had a couple teachers that had left good marks on me over the years, and I've had a number of bad ones, but I'll tell you, the ones that were good, to this day, if I see them across a room, I will seek them out and go over. If I see like their husband or their wife or their children, I make sure I tell them. You make sure you tell I was asking for them, and where I'm at now, and they're like, they're so proud of you, and I'm like, you know what, I wouldn't be where I am today if not for all of what they helped do for us. So I tell people, don't underestimate a teacher, especially a good one, because somebody had to show you how to read, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Add, subtract, multiply, divide, right?
True. Yeah. I had so many great kids. I mean, luckily, over the years. And then what was interesting is I decided to become a speech therapist. That really worked well. My gosh, I was all over Woodbine, Paulsboro, Township, all the townships basically in Cumberland County and things. But it worked out well for me because I was able to transition from education, full-time education, part-time speech therapy, and full-time business. So I went that route. So last 2 years that I did speech, or last few years I did it, was at Deerfield Township 2 days a week.
Okay.
And before that it was 4 days a week with Hopewell and Deerfield. But some great kids. In fact, I still see some of them, and they just laugh, and we have such a great time. Jimmy Patitucci's, I see him over at the Town Tavern in Bridgeton, which is another really good restaurant. Mm-hmm. You been there?
Yeah, sure.
My gosh, folks, that place has a salad bar, great food, and a dessert bar, which I know the mayor and I don't need, but I have to take a little piece.
Yeah, a little taste doesn't hurt.
Yeah, no. But it is another really good place. But I want to thank Yilmaz and everybody here at the Queen Restaurant. I certainly usually get here at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And again, it's great food, big portions. You get 2 for $30. If you bring somebody with you, if you're by yourself, it's $16. Still very reasonable for all the great food that you get, the salad or soup and the entree, vegetables, dessert as well. So it's been great. Mayor, thank you again for coming in.
Jim, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Ryan Narowski, thank you for producing the show today. And we remind you, coming up in another week or so, be sure to tune in to Channel 22 and our YouTube channel on Quinn Broadcasting, because we'll be bringing you the Vineland Millville baseball games. They play back-to-back days. First one's in Vineland, and then I think the 16th Vineland, 17th Millville, something like that. But 15th and 16th, Ryan, thank you. 15th will be at Vineland High School, and the 16th will be at the Babe Ruth Field in Millville, because I saw they're both 7 o'clock games, so we hope you'll join us for that. For Mayor Anthony Fanucci, I'm Jim Quinn. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
This has been a QBC television production in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22 and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.